Welcome to your deep dive, listener. We're really getting into it today, diving deep into AI in financial services. You sent us some really interesting research articles, so let's unpack it all. How is AI changing the game for banking, investing, even just thinking about money?
It's not just about changing the game, though, is it? It's about rewriting the rules entirely. This is a financial revolution happening right now, right in front of us.
Yeah, and from these articles I'm seeing, this isn't some far-off future. AI is making moves in finance, like, right now. And, like, at a mind-blowing pace. What makes this sector, finance, such fertile ground for AI to take root?
Well, finance, at its core, it's about data. It's about analyzing information, recognizing patterns, and then using all that to make predictions. And these just happen to be areas where AI excels, which is why I think we're seeing such a strong connection.
Okay, so it's like AI found its perfect match in the financial world.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like in practice? You got an example for me?
Oh, absolutely. One of the articles you sent, it talks about JP Morgan Chase. They're using AI to analyze legal documents, contracts, and we're not just talking about like scanning documents here. The AI can actually understand the context, and then extract key information all in a fraction of the time it would take a whole team of lawyers. I mean, it's incredible. Tasks that used to take weeks, literally weeks, are now being done in hours, even minutes.
Wow, that's a huge efficiency boost. No wonder those big financial institutions are jumping on the AI bandwagon. But it's not just about the big players, right? This has got to touch all of our lives somehow.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the most exciting areas is personalized finance. Imagine getting financial advice that's not generic, cookie cutter stuff, but advice that's tailored to your income, your goals, even, get this, your risk tolerance.
Okay, now that you mention it, there is an article here about AI-powered robo-advisors. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
Are those a good example of this whole personalized approach?
Exactly. Robo-advisors, they use algorithms to build and manage investment portfolios. But here's the kicker. They're based on your individual needs. They can track your spending habits, analyze market trends, even adjust your portfolio automatically.
So it's like having a personal financial advisor on call 24/7, but without the crazy fees. That's huge, especially for people who couldn't normally afford that kind of advice.
Exactly. And it's not just investment advice either. AI-powered chatbots are transforming customer service in finance. Need to ask about your account at 3 a.m.? No problem. An AI chatbot can handle it. You want personalized financial tips without scheduling a meeting. AI can do that too.
That's incredible. 24/7 personalized financial advice, faster transactions, potentially lower fees. This is almost too good to be true. And this being a deep dive and all, I know we have to look at all sides of this. What are some of the potential drawbacks we should be thinking about?
Oh, you are absolutely right. While the potential benefits are huge, there are definitely legitimate concerns we need to address as AI gets more and more intertwined with our financial lives.
So we've talked about the personalized advice, the chatbots, but there's this other article here that really caught my eye. It talks about AI being used to detect fraud. I mean, that just sounds like, well, a no-brainer, right? Who wouldn't want their money to be more secure?
Yeah, it seems like a perfect application for AI. Financial institutions, they're using it to analyze these massive, truly massive amounts of data in real time, all to look for patterns that might suggest fraudulent activity.
Oh, wow. So it's like having this incredibly vigilant watchdog,
Yeah.
just guarding your accounts 24/7. But what I find really fascinating is how the technology can actually evolve and adapt. The article mentions that AI can learn from new fraud techniques as they pop up, so it's constantly getting smarter and more effective.
Exactly, it's true. As criminals find new ways to, exploit the system, AI can adapt, learn those new patterns. It really is a constantly evolving arms race.
Speaking of evolution, what about credit scoring? That feels like an area where AI could have a huge impact. I mean, both positive and maybe a little concerning. One of the articles mentions AI looking beyond like traditional credit history, incorporating things like your online spending habits. That feels a little, I don't know, unnerving, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see why you'd feel that way, but think of it like this. Traditional credit scores, they can be really limiting, especially for people who are new to a country or haven't had the chance to build a long credit history, right? AI has this potential to create a much more, holistic picture of an individual's financial responsibility by considering alternative data.
So instead of just like whether you pay your bills on time, it could analyze your spending patterns, income streams, even things like how consistently you pay your rent for a more well-rounded picture.
Exactly. Of course, this needs to be done responsibly, ethically, making sure that privacy and data security are paramount.
That's a really crucial point. We've talked a lot about the, positive stuff, the applications of AI in finance. But what about the downsides? What about, for example, I mean, one of these articles touches on it, this fear of job displacement.
Hmm.
As these AI systems, they just become more sophisticated.
It's a valid concern for sure, and one that we definitely can't ignore. The reality is that some tasks that are currently performed by humans, they likely will be automated as AI technology advances. That's just, well, that's how it goes. However, it's important to remember that with every technological shift, new opportunities always emerge.
So it's not necessarily about like jobs just disappearing, but more about jobs transforming, changing with the times.
Precisely. We're likely to see a huge surge, a huge demand for roles that require, expertise in AI, data analysis, cybersecurity, and all these related fields.
It really makes you think about like how these changes, they're going to reshape, like literally reshape the financial job market. We could be talking about a whole wave of new careers, ones that didn't even exist a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But kind of shifting gears a bit here, we've done a deep dive on how AI is changing the how of finance, but what about the why? What's the big force? What's pushing this fast adoption of AI in this sector?
It's a lot of things coming together at once, I think. On the one hand, we've got this increasing availability of data, right?
Okay.
And then also, just as importantly, the tools to actually use it, to process it. But then at the same time, you've got this growing demand for everything to be personalized, efficient, 247 financial services. And AI. AI is like the key to making all that happen.
So it's like this perfect storm, technological advancement, consumer demand, it's all there.
Mhm.
But with any new technology that's, taking off this fast, especially one that's dealing with something as sensitive as our money, are there concerns about regulation, ethics? Like how do we make sure it's all above board?
Oh, absolutely. One of your articles, it really digs into this. It highlights this huge need for clear guidelines, regulations even, to make sure AI is developed responsibly and, actually used responsibly in finance. How do you prevent bias from creeping into the algorithms? Data privacy, huge one. These are big, big questions that we really need to be thinking about carefully.
Well, it's good to hear at least that these conversations are happening, that it's not just about, hey, new tech, let's go full speed ahead. It's also about, how do we implement this so it actually benefits everyone and doesn't create new problems, new inequality?
Exactly. And that's where I think it's so important for everyone, not just the techies, not just the finance people, to be informed, to
Yeah.
be engaged, understanding AI, how it works, what it can do, but also, where it could go wrong. That's crucial for shaping the future, making sure it's used for good.
Yeah, like they always say, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, the ones who are ready to jump into this whole evolving world of AI and finance, where do they even begin? What are some key takeaways they can walk away with today?
Honestly. First step is just stay curious, stay informed, keep up with what's new in AI and finance, but, don't just skim those headlines. Go deeper. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to be a little critical of what you see and hear.
Just like any financial decision, right?
Yeah.
Do your research.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for transparency. If you're using some AI-powered financial tool, find out how it works. What data does it look at? How does it make decisions? The more you understand, the more power you have,
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And to all our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this whole AI and finance thing? What's got you excited? What has you, a little bit worried? Let us know, because this is a conversation that is definitely not over.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, just remember the future of AI and finance. It's not set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the questions we ask, even just, the conversations we have. So stay engaged, stay curious, and keep on diving deep.